November 1st, 1988. The day Earth lost her mightiest warrior, Son Goku, to an even mightier warrior from another planet who was his surprise older brother. A tragic day indeed, especially for Goku's surprise son Gohan, but not that tragic in the grand scheme of things. I mean, the show's got magic wish balls that can bring any dead person back to life once. They're right there in the title, so the whole thing was really just a slightly convoluted setup for our hero to hit the afterlife for a training arc with an even godlier god than the one who trained him to beat the Demon King, returning just in time to save the Earth from another, stronger evil Goku from space. Also, as it turned out, the aforementioned Demon King was an alien too, as was that less godly god who gave birth to the Demon King asexually, like a frog. So, when the Prince of all Gokus kills the reborn Demon King, but he's good now, that sets up an arc where they have to go to his home planet and use some even better magic wish balls that can grant the same wish multiple times to bring him and their magic wish balls back, plus beat up an evil space real estate tycoon and his evil wannabe Power Rangers. But that arc, in turn, ended with the destruction of the other, better magic wish balls, meaning if Goku died again, he'd be dead for realsies. And the engines on the spaceship that brought him home weren't even cold yet when that very thing came to pass. A year later, from a heart disease, which caused most of humanity to be wiped out by evil androids when Goku couldn't stop them, as we learned from a guy who just used a time machine to deliver him some heart pills so all that wouldn't happen. Also, that guy was secretly the son of Shadow the Goku, who's turned good now. Still, he was only staving off the inevitable. That time machine also inadvertently brought back a much bigger threat from the future, which Goku would eventually need to sacrifice his own life to stop, at long last accepting that he couldn't be the world's strongest forever, and passing the torch to Gohan, who, unknowingly, had already surpassed his father through their adventures. Though he would defend Earth in his own way, taking up the mantle of a masked superhero to fulfill his duty while still living a normal life like his mom always wanted for him. A fitting, dare I say, poetic ending to a story that kicked off with our hero picking up a torch left by his own recently departed father figure. But then, in a stunning twist, the manga and anime were still making just so much money, so Goku got to meet an even godlier super god who gave him a get-out-of-death-free day pass to come back and fight in the world tournament with all his friends and family one last time, but then that was interrupted by a maniacal space wizard trying to resurrect a giant evil magic baby sealed within the Earth. Then a lot of war happened, Shadow the Goku turned evil again and then turned good again, an even godlier super-duper god showed up, dudes started fusing with other dudes, then fusing in a different way, and the evil baby split up and fused a bunch of times, then got swole, then small, but the small one was actually the scariest of them all. And then Goku saved the day by pressing the Save the Day button he got in his first Afterlife training arc, earning a permanent, indefinite extension on his day pass, and the small evil baby was reincarnated as a nice Indian guy who Goku got to fight in another world tournament, but also his now good fat baby half was still alive and gay married to a pro wrestler. It was at this point that series creator Akira Toriyama left the franchise over creative differences with Shueisha and Toei Animation. His creativity was totally burned out, and he figured he'd made enough money by now, whereas they didn't believe in the concept of enough money. So Goku was turned back into a kid by a secret third set of magic wish balls that are even better than the even better ones, but also destroy the planet when you use them unless you go on a fetch quest, which feels like a very on-the-nose metaphor, but I suspect was just a result of Kid Goku being easier and more fun to animate. Either way, fans didn't really like that, so they made him turn back into an adult when he goes Super Saiyan, but fans still didn't like it, like, a lot. So after a year and a bit of trying and failing to make it work, they just sort of gave up and wrote a rushed ending that, conceptually at least, ties it all together a lot better than the Buu Saga did by at least finally creating some consequences for solving all your problems with magic wish balls, but that's just like my opinion, man. And again, I'm only talking about the structure, not, the quality of the writing, because that was pretty dog shit in GT. And still, nowhere near as good as the Cell Saga ending with a Saiyaman epilogue would have been. Anyway, while Goku may not have been formally dead at that point, the story of Dragon Ball well and truly was. For a decade and a half or so, until some of the professional corpse desecrators in Hollywood dug it back up to do their thing, and the shock of seeing that thing was so great, it actually brought the creative spark back to Toriyama's eyes. Not nearly as much as was there when he started, but enough to write a pretty good, better than Boo at least, movie every 3 years or so, introducing death gods to the Dragon Ball universe, bringing back Frieza, and reworking the movie-only character Broly to not be terrible anymore. But that, in turn, put the cartoon yen signs back in Toei and Shueisha's eyes, more than enough for them to put out a not very good TV episode every week or so from 2015 to 2018, collectively titled Dragon Ball Super, in which Goku, now officially the strongest dude in the whole universe, has to fight all the same villains from those pretty good movies, but way slower this time, plus, in between them, such stunningly creative enemies as the strongest guy from a parallel universe, and Goku from the future, but he's evil now. And if you think that's creatively bankrupt, wait till you hear about Super Dragon Ball Heroes, not to be confused with Dragon Ball Superhero, the most recent pretty good movie, a series of 8-minute web-only gacha game commercials that's been running since DB Super ended, in which the franchise owners use the established plot devices of parallel universes and time travel to stage a series of wrestling matches between Goku and other different Gokus, plus some Vegetas sometimes, and anyone else from all the other Dragon Ball things who's even remotely marketable.